Hey, it's me, Jetski, and yeah, I know I've been gone for quite a while now. If my math is correct, about 4 months, but I wanted to come back and talk about something that I found really interesting, that being the many adaptations of Sonic Adventure 2. Now, before we start though, I will have to ask you to please like and sub, as it really helps out the channel. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers sooner than later. Anyways, let's hop right into the video. Now starting off with, we're going to talk about the Archie Sonic adaptation of the Sonic Adventure 2 plot. And I'm talking about this one first just because of how really little there is to talk about it. It is very minuscule and really short. And if I'm really being honest with you, there's barely much of an adaptation at all. See, it does a section of the Sonic Adventure 2 storyline in just one issue, that being like the first 20 minutes of the game, you know, city escape, the breaking out of the gun helicopter, meeting Shadow for the first time. That's pretty much all it does in the actual comic itself. However, at the very end of the comic, it's like, pick up the Sonic Adventure 2 video game to find out what happens. It's very bizarre and like, honestly has almost next to nothing to do with the Archie comics itself. It is not the same kind of adaptation as Archie's Sonic Adventure 1 adaptation. They have next to nothing in common. It's very, very different. Now, if you're curious, this all takes place in one issue, that being issue number 98, near the 100th issue marker, and the art, which is incredible. In fact, it's probably the best part of this, was done by Patrick Spiziante. I think that's how you say his name. I have no idea. It's incredible though. If you're looking for a reason to check out this issue, his art alone is good enough reason. However, in the writing department, that's a bit of a different story. The infamous Ken Penders himself actually penned the script for this. You can kind of tell because it's a bit weird. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for this adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2. It's okay, you know. It just does like the first 10 minutes. The art is really cool. The writing's kind of whack. That's all I have to say. On to the next adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2. Okay, so this is the big adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2. That being the Sonic X adaptation of the plot line. Now, unlike the actual video game itself, it actually starts out by picking up pretty much almost exactly where the last storyline left off. In the video games, it was Sonic Adventure 1, and in Sonic X, it was also Adventure 1. We do eventually get the gun jumping at the helicopter scene. However, in Sonic X, it's actually so much worse, because instead of delivering the iconic, you know, talk about low budget's flight speech, he makes up some weird joke. And he does use the snowboard, but only for about like 2 seconds. He does like a little fruity loop, and that's it. And the animation is kind of mid in this scene, to be honest. It really does not do the whole city escape set piece any justice at all. In fact, I'd argue it's kind of a letdown if I'm being honest. In fact, that's probably how I would describe how Sonic Adventure 2 is adapted in Sonic X. It hits all the major beats, but it does them much worse. A great example of this is, in Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic delivers this iconic line to Shadow as they're about to have their final throwdown. He says, "What you see is what you get, nothing but a guy that likes adventure." And Sonic X sets this up only for Sonic to say something stupid like, "Oh, I'm just a guy who has a need for speed." Like, that's not Sonic's character. This whole thing isn't about going fast. I think it's just one of those things where 4Kids just didn't really care and just had them kind of half-ass it. That's just kind of how 4Kids was with the Sonic X anime in general, if I'm being honest. And it sucks, but that's just how it was. However, I'll say this for Sonic X. It was at least really faithful to the Sonic Adventure 2 storyline. It did hit all the major beats. It did some of the moments that were iconic in Adventure 2. Not very well, but it did try. Also, it had the Jason Griffith version of Sonic go through these events, and I've always been kind of curious to see what exactly that would have sounded like. And I guess I really got my answer through Sonic X. However, Sonic X does do one really good thing in terms of adapting Sonic X's plot, and that's what they changed. See, they added this whole subplot for the side human characters that actually elevates the plot a lot more. You see, two of the major side characters, that being Chris Thorndyke's teacher and a recurring reporter character, actually do a bit of investigating and found out the man who shot Maria. And that's actually really fascinating. I was honestly hoping they would do something similar for the Sonic movie, and we'll have to see if they do, but I really doubt that. after seeing a few of the trailers, I know I haven't mentioned the Sonic movie 3 by the way, but trust me, I'll get onto it when it comes out. We get to see both Maria's death from Shadow's perspective and the man who shot her's perspective. This completely changes the entire perception of Maria's death. The guy who shot her clearly feels so guilty, and in fact, it completely ruined his life. He is now homeless, sad, and old and alone. This is one of the few times that Sonic X actually did something better than the video games, and they really took advantage of the storytelling medium of television for once. This also does something that I kind of wish the video games would have done, this being that Gunn finally gets their comeuppance for doing evil and kind of shady stuff in the past. In the TV show, they all get arrested and are sent to prison for their genuinely heinous acts. Sonic X really did do a phenomenal job with that. I think this is one of the few times that I think they really improved on a game's story in a major way and really took advantage of their human characters that they had added to the Sonic mythos and really did a good job with them. It never really felt like it was intruding on the main plot of the Sonic Adventure 2 arc at all. If anything, it added so much more to it. Another thing I feel like I should mention is in the original Japanese version of it, they actually do have some tracks from Sonic Adventure 2. The biggest one is obviously Live and Learn, and in the 4Kids dub, unfortunately, they don't have any of the Adventure 2 tracks. Instead, they just have a bunch of like generic, almost stock sounding orchestral pieces, which sucks, but I guess it is what it is, you know? That's pretty much all I have to say for the Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation from Sonic X. On to the conclusion. In conclusion, Sonic Adventure 2 has had multiple different adaptations, whether it's the comics or TV shows, and most recently, a soon-to-be movie. I wonder how much they will actually take from the source material when it comes to the movie. There's several things that they already did that are much different from the video game. For example, Gerald Robotnik, who in the actual video games was put down by a firing squad, seems to be very alive and well in Sonic Movie 3, so we'll see how that all plays out. That's pretty much all I have to say for this video, though. If you guys liked it, please like and sub, as it really helps out the channel. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers sooner than later. It was a Jet Ski, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.